Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Going within states of the mind. An empty mind, thoughtless mind is pure presence, and all that is possible happens in this pure presence. Because the whole existence comes out of this pure presence. The whole existence comes out of this pure presence. The trees grow out of this pure presence. The stars are born out of this. Buddhas have come out of this pure presence. And in this pure presence, you are in God. You are God. When you are occupied, you fall. You have been expelled from the Garden of Eden. The very meaning of the Bible statement, thrown out of the Garden of Eden, means when your mind is preoccupied. Mind is preoccupied with thoughts, emotions, and all preconditionings. You have fallen out of Garden of Eden. Unoccupied, paradise is regained. You are back home. When mind is not occupied by things, by reality, by thoughts, then there is that which is. And that which is, what is that which is? That is truth. Only in emptiness there happens the meeting, the merger. Only in emptiness you are open to truth, and truth enters you. It is only in emptiness of the mind you are pregnant with truth. There are three states of the mind. The first is content and consciousness. You always have content in mind. A thought is moving, a desire arising, anger, greed, ambition, all kind of things are arising. These are contents. You have some content or the other in the mind. Mind never remains unoccupied. It never remains unoccupied. Traffic goes on day in and day out. Whether you are awake or asleep, it's there. When you are awake, you call this thinking. And when you are asleep, thinking becomes dreaming. But the process remains the same. Dreaming is a little more primitive. That is all. Because it thinks in pictures. And in thinking, the pictures disappear. It does not use concepts. Dreaming simply uses pictures. It is more primitive, like the books of the small children that contain big letters and images, colorful images. So in children books you have to make the big pictures colorful, because they think, the child's mind only thinks in pictures. Through pictures they will learn words. By and by those pictures become smaller and smaller, and one day they disappear. Primitive man also thinks in terms of images. Ancient most languages are pictorial language. Chinese is a pictorial language. It has no alphabet. It is the ancient most language. In the night, you become primitive. You forget your sophistication of the day. You start thinking in terms of pictures, but it is the same thing. And the analysis of the psychoanalyst, the insight, is very important. He looks into your dreams, and dreams are more true, because in the dreams you are primitive. You are not trying to deceive anyone. When someone is drunk, he speaks the truth. He is more primitive. He cannot deceive, he is more authentic. In the day you have a personality around you which hides your true presence. Layers upon layers of personality are there. It is very difficult in that situation to find true man. We are talking, I am speaking, streaming, going within states of the mind. There are layers upon layers of the personality, and it is difficult to find your true presence. You have to dig deep, and it hurts, and the man will resist. But in the night, just as you put your clothes away, you put your personality away too. It is not needed, because you will not be communicating with anyone. Then you will be all alone in your bed, and there is no world around you. You will be absolutely in your private realm. There is no need to hide, no need to pretend. That is why psychoanalysts tries to go into your dreams, because they show much more clarity of what you are. But it is the same game played in different languages. The game is not different. It is the ordinary state of mind. Mind and content, consciousness plus content. This is the first state of the mind. Mind and contents, consciousness plus content. The second state of mind is consciousness when it is without content. And consciousness without content is meditation. You are fully alert that there is a gap, an interval, no thought is encountered, there is no thought before you, you are not asleep, you are awake, but there is no thought. This state is known as meditation. The first state is called mind, the second state is called meditation. The second state of the mind is meditation, or second layer of the mind is meditation. In the first state, there are contents. During the day you think, during the night you dream. Dream is thinking in pictures, and during the day there is no thoughts. No, there are thoughts but no images. The second state of the mind is when consciousness is without thoughts, without content. That is what meditation is all about. You are fully alert that there is a gap, there is an interval, no thought is encountered, you are fully alert, you are not asleep, you are simply awake, but there is no thought. This is meditation. The first is mind, second is meditation. Then comes the third state of mind, and then there is the third state when content has disappeared, the object has disappeared, and the subject cannot, and when object is disappeared, the content is disappeared, the subject cannot remain for too long. In order to make a sentence, there are three things: subject, object about which you are talking, and that which connects the two. I am watching a movie. Watching a movie is subject, is object. I is the subject. And what is going on between the two is watching. I am watching a movie. When the object disappears, the content disappears, the subject cannot remain for too long. Because the subject and object stay together. They produce each other. When the subject is alone, it can only hang around for a short while, for a little while. Just out of the moment of the past. Without the content, the consciousness cannot be there long. It cannot be needed. Because a consciousness is always a consciousness about something. When you say conscious, it can be asked about what? You say, I am conscious of what? That object is needed. It is a must for the subject to exist. Once the object has disappeared, the soon subject will also disappear. First goes the content, then consciousness disappears. This third state of the mind is known as samadhi. no content, no consciousness. But remember, this no content, no consciousness is not a state of unconsciousness. When I say no consciousness, this does not mean unconsciousness. Consciousness now is only conscious of itself. Consciousness is conscious of itself. Consciousness has turned upon itself. The circle is complete. You have come home. This is the third state, samadhi. And this state, when there is no content, there is no consciousness, Buddha calls as shunyata. In order to reach to this state, first drop the content. When you drop the content, you are half empty. Then drop consciousness. You become fully empty. And this emptiness is the most beautiful thing that can happen. It is a great benediction. When the content is dropped, consciousness is dropped, subject is dropped, there is a total emptiness. And this is, in that emptiness, the body is more alive, no thoughts, just pure stillness. There is no need for body to move. The movement of the body, the shrugging of the shoulders, all that happens because of the inner disturbance. Maybe a thought, maybe an emotion, maybe a feeling. So when the content is dropped, consciousness disappears. There is pure emptiness. And this is beautiful. That this is the most beautiful thing that can happen to you. It is a great benediction. In this nothingness, in this emptiness, in this selflessness, there is shunyata. There is complete security, complete stability. You will be surprised to know about this complete security and stability is there when you are not. When you are not, all fears disappear. Because what is the basic fear? The basic fear is of death. All other fears are just a reflection of this basic fear. The other fears can be reduced to one fear, the fear of death. The fear that one day I may have to disappear, one day I may have to leave everything, one day I may have to die. I am. And the day is coming when I will not be. And this very thing frightens you. That is the fear. To avoid that fear, we start moving in such a state that we can live as long as possible, and we try to secure our life. We start compromising, we start becoming more and more secure, safe, And all this happens because of the fear. We are becoming paralyzed because the more secure you are, more safe you are, the less you will be living. Life really exists in challenges. Life exists in crisis. Life needs insecurity. It grows in the soil of insecurity. Life grows in the soil of insecurity. Whenever you are insecure, you will find yourself, you are more alive, more alert. That is why rich people become dull. A kind of stupidity and a kind of stupor surrounds them. They are so secure. There is no challenge. They are so secure, they need not intelligence. Intelligence is needed when there is challenge. Intelligence is provoked by the challenge when you face in life. So because of the fear of death, we strive security. We want a bank balance. Insurance is needed. Marriage is needed, a settled life, a home. We become part of a country. We join a political party or join a religious church. We become Hindu, Christian, Mohammedan. These are the ways to find security. These are the ways to find a place, some place to belong to, a country, a church. Because of this fear, politicians and priests go on exploiting you. It is not in any. If you are not having any fear, there is no insecurity, no politician, no priest can exploit you. It is only because of the fear that you are exploited. At least the priest can console you when you have problem. You go to the priest, ask him to look at your stars, why there is problem around you. He tells you things. There is exploitation. At least he can promise, and this promise makes you secure. This will be your security, that the Pandit has said, the priest has said so. The goods may never be delivered. That is another thing. But the promise is there, and the promise keeps people exploited, oppressed. The promise keeps people in bondage. Once you have known the inner emptiness, fear disappears, because death has already happened in that emptiness. Thoughts have disappeared, there is no content, there is no consciousness. In that emptiness, it has happened. It is in that emptiness you disappear, and when you are not there, who is there to be afraid? And afraid about whom? Afraid about what? And who is there to be afraid? In this emptiness, all fears disappear, because death has already happened. Now there is no longer any death possible. You feel a kind of deathlessness, a state of timelessness. Eternity has arrived. Now you do not look for security. There is no need. This state is known as a state of initiation or sannyas. In that state you do not belong to any country, any church. These are all stupid things. It is only when you become nothing that you can discover yourself, your inner nature. But it looks paradoxical. But this is how it is. You need not compromise for anything. It is out of fear and greed that you have to compromise. And you can now live life of a rebellion. There is nothing to lose. You can become a rebellion. There is nothing to fear. Nobody can kill you. You have already done things yourself. Nobody can take away anything from you. You have dropped all that which can be taken away from you. Now you are nothingness. Hence the paradox. And with death, time also disappears. With death disappears all problems that are created by death and time. In the wake of these disappearance, what is left is pure emptiness, pure sky. And this state of pure sky is samadhi. Buddha is talking about this pure state of emptiness. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.